Hey there, I'm Eric. I started this YouTube channel about 5 years ago, riding my bike. And over that course of time, I've got a lot of flats. I mean, a lot. My first ride I took up north, I believe it was a 50-mile ride. I ended up getting two flats, one right after the other. Back then, I was using one of those tiny little hand pumps. If you're ever looking for a great workout, yeah, you end up having to, that looks bad, pumping that thing over and over. And I get the tire pumped up, and it was from like a massive screw. And I get up around the corner. I swear it wasn't even more than 1,000 feet. And yep, sure enough, got another flat. Fixed that one up. Probably spent an hour and a half sitting there fixing the tire and pumping it back up. Definitely not the most enjoyable part of riding. I would prefer to try to skip the tire part, but unfortunately it is part of riding bikes. So then I ended up moving up to a little electric pump that I could end up plugging into the bike, and that works out pretty great. However, pressure gauge ended up going out on it. And then a lot of you, I think like 81,000 of you have seen me do the Vegas tour. And on that one, I ended up catching what you call road wire. What road wire is, and inside of all the car tires, there's the metal wires that help hold in the rubber together. Well, here in the States, we are sometimes really tight on our budget, so we'll run our tires for a really long time. And they'll end up coming apart onto the side of the road. The little wires can easily find their way into your tires. And yeah, that's basically what my curse was through the whole tour to Vegas. I don't know how many times I stopped. It was actually getting kind of funny. I suffered quite a bit of flats. It was a lot. I went through pretty much a couple patch kits on that one. So anytime I'm looking to speed up this process and make all of it way more efficient is a plus for me. So when a company reached out to me called Cycplus to review the little AS2 pumps, I was like, heck yeah. I watched a few other videos on it, and a lot of people talked really highly about it. They also sent out, well, they sent out the Pro, and then they also sent out the Pro Max to me, which that was awesome. These are very nice pumps, and yeah, I was more than happy to review them. So nobody wants to look at the boxes. Just put those, I don't know, there we go, present them there. That, I don't know. Looks good, right? So you got the AS2 Pro, and then you got the AS2 Pro Max. This one here would be more for smaller tires, or road bikes would be perfect for it. You could definitely go multiple times with this. I have tested out the limits on this on the mountain bike, and it will pump the tire up to 57 PSI, which is really high for a mountain bike. And keep in mind, these are my road slick tires I'm riding on there. They can actually have a pressure of up to 80 PSI. The charge time on them is really fast. I ended up plugging it in, and within a half an hour, it was good to go again. So I'm gonna end up using this little guy for, this is gonna end up replacing pretty much my whole CO2 system. And this is actually gonna save me a little weight, which is very important anytime you're on a bike tour. I need to get my handy dandy notes out here. So this small pump weighs roughly 160 grams. And then my CO2 system, which, let me go get that real quick. Ow, that was a table. So there, yeah, we got the good old CO2 system, which these little steel cartridges actually do have quite a bit of weight. Just this 125 gram and these two 16 grams with the nozzle ends up weighing 246 grams. I'm almost saving 100 grams right there just by replacing the CO2. And this one's rechargeable, where those, I would have to continually rebuy them each time. They're one use, and unfortunately a lot of the guys throw them out on the side of the road, which I get a little upset when I see that. I wish they'd at least put them back in their pockets. Like, you were carrying the weight, take it back, man. I don't know, I'm gonna get off my broom there. And then you got the AS2 Pro Max. This one can pump up a mountain bike tire multiple times, especially if you're doing just normal mountain biking. A lot of times we just run about 20 PSI on them, and that gives you more grip around the turn, lets you conform to the rocks, and also don't feel the vibrations in your hand as much. But with the road tires, it will go up to high pressure. This will go up to 120 PSI each one of them, so they're even good with like road tires and BMX tires. I definitely recommend both of these pumps if you're running sealant in your tubes or tubeless system, because CO2 with many of those solutions, it'll tend to dry them out, and then they're not as effective. But by using one of these, you're just using pure air. So it should save your sealing a little bit, which, yeah, that stuff's not cheap. Should save you money in the long run just by switching over. So the pumps work out pretty simply. All you got to do is hold down the power button and then the display comes on there. And then of course it's also a PSI gauge, so it's reading 0 pressure at the moment because it's not hooked up. And the screen's not truly flashing like that. That's just my record speed is a little bit faster than the screen is going. And then of course you can adjust your PSI up all the way to 120 PSI, which I definitely like that. My current tires, their max PSI is 80. I think 75 is fine on those. Come with a few accessories. You have your standard pump up basketball or a football or soccer ball valve. Of course, you got your USB-C, that is for your charge cable. And then you got these little bits. One of the cool things about the Cycplus is you can take this and you can just push this right onto the tire. So there's no needing to screw it on or clip or anything like that. It just pretty much go on, and then you hold down the button to turn it on, hit it once to let it go, and it'll stop when it gets up to the pressure, which that's awesome. I do recommend most of the time using the valve stem adapter, which this actually is a screw on, unless you're looking to just top off a little bit of pressure, or you're just going up to like 20 PSI. The reason for that is the tip of it does get really hot. It's just kind of the nature of compression. You're gonna end up having quite a bit of heat and quite a bit of noise. It's kind of unavoidable. But with this little stem, it kind of mitigates all that because it'll end up sinking a lot of the heat into it, and well, you won't get a little puff of smoke at the end there. This can be adapted right now. It is fit for a Presta valve, but it can also be adapted for a Schrader valve, and that is what these tiny little pieces are. It's really simple. You just unscrew this piece here, and then you're able to add the next pieces. For the adapter, it's really easy to use, of course. You just screw it in this end, and this adapter here is for the Schrader valves. And then to get the Presta ones to work, you got this piece here, and then that just screws on. And then this whole thing swivels so it can be screwed onto the valve stem. Definitely recommend going this way for when you're adding quite a bit of pressure into the unit, just because of the heat that is generated. But for now, so I know this one will do a mountain bike tire up to 57 PSI, and the battery's totally out on it. So now I need to test the big one. Let's see how many times this one can actually pump a tire up to, let's say, 75 PSI, because, well, that'll be what I'll be touring on next tour, so that works out real good for my test. Okay, I got my 29-inch wheel here. I'm just gonna go ahead and let all the air out of it by removing the valve core, because, well, it's a lot easier than sitting there and hold it the whole time. I may have lost the valve core. Where the hell did it go? Yeah, I'd have to say 75 PSI has definitely got a little bit of a kick to it when you take the core out. That was funny. I just gotta find it. So I'm gonna use on the screw-on adapter, of course, because it's definitely gonna take it a while. So it's set to 75 PSI, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it and time it from there. Oh, shoot. And of course it pauses from a timer, so I'll just continue it from there. Nice, the Cycplus was easily able to get the tire up to 75 PSI, so I'm gonna go ahead and let the air out of it, and let's see how many times it can do it. All right, and number 2. Oh yeah, it definitely has a timeout. Nice. So that's 2 times, and it has 1 more bar left. So I'm gonna let the air out. There we go. And I'm gonna let it cool down for 5 minutes, of course. Okay, and number 3 with 1 bar left. It'll be interesting to see how far this one can go. Oh, you can definitely hear it winding down. I think that was it. It looked like 15 PSI before it shut off. So I can pump it up to 75 PSI 2 times and then 15 on top of that. But Given if you were running more normal mountain bike pressures, that'd be, wow, yeah, that could be 4 or 5 times on up to like 20, 25 PSI. Nice.